So today we're going to be working on a program which will essentially be an album program that will keep track of songs that one can enter, the name of the album, the name of the song, the artist name, and of course the running time of the album itself. So these are sort of the explanation behind some of the variables that I have here. And as we move through this program, we're really going to see the demonstration, a demonstration of arrays, which which I think should help solidify really what arrays are and how we can work with them in the future. So essentially what I'd like to do here is I'd like to make a constructor for the album one class. And essentially what this does is it will set some values to default. So the name of the album will just be a default string, and the name of the song will essentially just be it will also be a default. And so essentially the artist name, just because that's a string again, that too will have a default string. And for the running time, since that's an integer, we are going to have this as a 0. I think that works. So we have these variables, of course, then we have a constructor to give them default values. And here, we're actually going to have some getters and setters. Now, we're going to have a getter and setter for setting the name of the album, setting the name of the song, setting the name of the artist, and of course, getters that correspond to that. But I actually want to make a note here. I want to make a note that we're going to have a setter and getter for the name of the album and a setter getter for the name of the artist, but we may not have a setter and getter for the name of the song and the name of the running time. And I'll tell you why. Just keep in mind we may not have getters or setters for we may not have getters or setters for these. And I'll explain along the way. So essentially we've misspelled album here, album 1, and let's see. So now let's go ahead to code and let's print some getters and setters, right? So we have our generate here, or actually we can go to, I think we can go to generate, and we're going to get getters and setters for the name of the album. Do we want a getter and setter for that? Sure. We don't want them to just randomly so we're gonna, we don't want them to enter in anything that's not an existent album, right? So the name of the album, and let's see what else we could do with the getters and setters. We're also going to essentially allow them to do a getter and setter for the name of the artist. Okay, I think that's helpful. And we'll also do a getter and setter for, let's see. So think about it this way. For the name of the song, we're actually going to have a method. We're going to have a method which is called, essentially, it's going to be called add song, which will add a song. Okay, and essentially what this method will do, it's going to be a public. It's going to return well, it may not return anything. It's just going to set a song, and it will also set the duration of a particular song. So it's going to be called add song, and that song is going to be it's going to have a name, right? New song name, let's call it that. And it's also going to have a int duration. Now, of course, in a real world example, you'd probably expect this to be a double because we often have 5 minutes and 44 seconds or something like that. But in this case, we're just going to round it off to an integer. So we have the name of a song, right? But we're going to load that here in the new song name, and we're going to say new duration, new song duration. Okay, I think that works. Now we are also going to have let's see here. So the running time will essentially be this will essentially be let me just put this in an asterisk here. This will be the running time of the album itself, not all the songs in the album. So it wouldn't make any sense to set the running time. We can get the running time, sure, but it wouldn't make any sense to set the running time knowing that sort of just knowing that the running time will be a compilation, an addition of all the running times of the songs themselves, which consists in the album. So the album will essentially be a number which will take all the individual running times of each song, and it will sort of compile them all together. So we don't want to set that. We can get that though. We can definitely get that. So essentially what I'm going to do here is I'll add a get method, right? So it'll be public, it'll return an integer, right? Because we're just getting the total running time. And so we're just going to call this get running time. Okay. And this will essentially just be it's not going to take anything. It's just going to return running time. Okay. Now, essentially what I want to make clear here is that when we add a song will carry with it a new song duration. That's sort of the constructor, or rather the methods. We've overloaded this method with two these two parameters. One should be the song name and one should be the new song duration. So ideally, if the new song if the new song duration they enter is greater than 0, because we don't want them to enter a song which has a negative length, then and only then will we sort of assign the song that we have the name of the song that we're referring to on the class level to the song that we're referring to on the local level, right? So that would be name of song equals new song name, right? So this would be the local one. This would be sort of the global one is being set to the local one. Then and only then would we do that, right? And the duration of that song, well, if you think about it, right, the duration of the album itself, the running time. Since there's only one song inside this particular album, the running time will just be the duration. The running time will just essentially be the duration of that particular song. There's only one song. If it's 5 minutes, then the whole album only has one song, which runs for 5 minutes. That means the album runtime is only 5 minutes. Okay, and that's essentially what we wanted to do. So we come back here in our main method and we say, okay, well, let me go ahead and make an object of the album class. So I would do album. Okay, so I would do album1, and then I would do AB1 equals new album. Album1. Now I'd say, okay, well, the album1, the album1, let's say set the artist name, or actually let me actually go ahead and set I guess I could set the artist name first. So that would be the Beatles, right? Just taking anything random here. And I could do I'm not going to get anything yet. I don't want to print it out. I set the artist name. Ooh, I did that twice. Set the name of the album, right? Let's say it's called what was an album? What was an album of the Beatles? Abbey Road. Okay. And we'll also AB1.set. What else can we set? We can set the artist name. We can set the name of the album. We did that. Let's see. Yeah, so now we can just set the name of the song, but we also have a duration with it. So we can just say add song, and we can add This Boy, which is an all-time favorite, and it runs for about 4 minutes, right? So I'll just say 4 minutes, and that works. And then what we'll do here is we will essentially just say, okay, well, the artist is, and then I'm going to do ab1.get artist name. Okay, that's the artist. And let's see, the what? Well, the name of the album is, or let's just do, and that would just be ab1.get the album, right? Okay, sweet. And then we'll just do, okay, well, we'll just do this is the song, or this is the songs. An album never has just one song. In this case, we do though. And so we'll just do, okay, well, get song, ab1.get song. We don't have a song method, I think, so I think we have to actually go back and create that, right? So we're setting the song. Why not Why not do public string get song? Get name of song. That could be a good idea. And we'll just return name of song. Okay, sounds like a plan. Get name of song. I'm content. I'm content. Let's see what happens when we run this here. So we have the artist, the Beatles, the name of the album, or let's just say album, right? The name of the album. Who are we? Let's say album. Album, and then we have songs. Now, one thing you'll notice is that if I try to add another song, if I do ab1 dot add song, and I do, okay, Penny Lane. Okay. If I try to do this, and I send, of course, I send over a duration, which is, let's say, 2 minutes. If I do this, it should print both of those songs, right? I mean, whoa, that's not what happens. It only prints out one of them. Probably not a good idea, right? We would want them to print out both. What do we do? Well, let's go back into our methods and see how we can make some changes so that it displays all the songs. You can see here that we're just setting the song to the new song. We're setting the runtime to, or actually we could also do the runtime, right, in our album or in our sort of our print statements here. We can say total runtime. Total runtime is also ab1 dot get runtime. Okay, this will essentially be what? So the runtime is 2. 2 what, right? 2 what? Let's just say 2 minutes. To what? Well, 2 minutes. Total runtime, 2 minutes. So that makes sense. A lot of sense, actually, right? More sense than I anticipated. But you'll notice that we've entered 2 songs, right? One has 4 minutes, one has 2 minutes. You'd imagine that 4 plus 2 is 6, right? So it would make sense it would essentially make sense for the total runtime to reflect as 6 minutes and for there to be 2 songs, right? So you can sort of see that the issue here is that when we print this out, it prints out what we want, but it only prints out, it doesn't print out accurate information. It prints out accurate information in the sense that it's sort of printing out the latest entry, which was Penny Lane, but you can see it's not printing out the information for this boy, which has a runtime of 4. So the album runtime should actually be 4 plus 2. So a good way to solve this is just to say, well, okay, when I populate this, when I refer to this method, the running time will equal the new song duration, right? And then new song duration, or rather running time, this instance variable running time will be equal to new song duration. But the next time I populate this method, okay, let me put it this way. Let me say that this boy has duration of 4. So the first time we run this method, this duration is equal to 4. So this duration, or rather the running time, is equal to 4. So that's what is saved in running time. The next time we come to this method, running time will hold a value of 4. But it will just, running time will equal the value of 4. But we want it not only to be equal to the value of 4, but we want it to also be equal to the new duration. So we want it to be equal to the runtime that was before plus the runtime the next time we do this. So we use an accumulator pattern. Okay. And that would reflect, so every time I call this method, it will update the running time. I'm going to essentially show you this here in real time, and I'm also going to, you can see that now it's adding the 4 and 2. So every time I add a song, it will essentially just, it will add the duration of that song. So if I do ab1 dot add song, it will, and I say, okay, I'm looking through you by the Beatles. and I add, let's say 5, it's now going to use the accumulator pattern to essentially allow me, right, so you can say it's adding on those minutes, it's tacking on those minutes. And let me just go ahead and sort of run this through the debugger here to sort of show you that this is actually working. This isn't a dream, it's working, right? So we're here, okay, where we have to add the song. We're going to step into the method. And now we're here, and it says, okay, so you can see new song is holding the duration of 4. And that's just because in the demo, we sent back the value of 4. And so since the new song duration, which is 4, is greater than 0, then the name on the class, the class variable instance variable name of song is equal to new song. And of course, new song is this boy. That's what we've relayed back here. So this boy and 4. And so it says, okay, new song duration is 4, and this boy, and the new song name is this boy. So it sets name of song and the class variable equal to new song name. You can see at this present moment, name of song doesn't actually have a value, right? It's using the default that we find in the constructor. And so when we actually when we execute the next line, you can see that it actually sets the name of the song to this boy. Okay, and you can see now this accumulator pattern, the running time is 4. Well, we're actually the new song duration, which is of this boy, has 4 minutes as its running time. So the new song duration at the moment is 4, and the running time is 0 because, well, it hasn't been added yet. So when you actually do add it, you can see that the running time will update to 4. And so the next time we come into this method, and we will do that now, we're now sort of relaying back Penny Lane with a duration of 2. And so now it's Penny Lane with a duration of 2. And you can see that new song duration is greater than or equal to 0, right? So, and new song duration is 2. And so what it does is it will set the name of song, which had, you can see that name of song had this boy. Now it's going to set it to Penny Lane, okay? Right? The name of the song was this boy, and now it's setting it to Penny Lane. And then running the accumulator, just because we're actually we have an accumulator pattern here, it will essentially add the new song duration and the running time. Because the running time value was saved before, you can see it's 4, and when we add the duration, we actually get 2, right? So we actually get 6. So that's sort of why that works. But so we have so you can see that we're adding the we're sort of adding the total runtime, but we're not adding on the songs. And so it would make a lot of sense to have an accumulator for the songs as well. And so the way we do that, and I'm going to display it here, is first I'll do it and I'll show you why I did what I did. So I'm going to say name of song is equal to name of song, and this is of course just the accumulator pattern, plus, and then I'm going to have quotation, then I'm going to backslash, right, just like that. I'm going to backslash n, and that's what, so what does this even do? What does this even do? And I'll show you what it does, but I just want to show you that if I actually do this, you'll see that both of those names are registered, and I'll tell you what the reasoning is behind that. So essentially, let me just sort of illustrate this through the debugger here. So we're going to put essentially what we're going to start by doing is we're going to put a breakpoint on a line here, and it will essentially take us through. So first and foremost, it essentially says, okay, what does it say here? So we're going to step into the add song method, and it seems like we have new song duration. Okay, so It's essentially carrying over the song name and the duration. And as we step in, what it does is it essentially says, okay, the name of the song, which is the class variable, is equal to the name of the song plus escape character n, new song name, and the new song name is this boy. And essentially what this n is an escape character. So name of song equals name of song. So right now name of song is just blank because the default value for name of song is just a quotation mark. And then it concatenates with an escape character, which means this segment here is everything after the escape character is printed, which is this boy, is sort of printed on the next line. So what I'm really trying to say is you can think of this as, you can essentially think of this as you have name of song equals name of song plus the escape character. So we do the escape character here. That just prints out a new line plus the new song name, which is of course what they enter. So if I were to enter this this boy would essentially be this boy, or yeah, this boy would essentially be that string new song name. And what this would sort of be for the first one is, okay, name of song is default. So right now name of song is equal to a default, just like that. And then there's a plus, and then there's an n. So that's the escape character. So it concatenates the empty string with a escape character, and then this just gets sent to the next line. That's our output, this boy. And next time, again, when we have new song name, when we have this again, essentially we are, let's say I enter Hey Jude, right? So this is, again, the next time we go through, remember that name of song now stores this boy. So now it's this boy plus n plus the new song name, which was the Hey Jude song. And it just sends this to the next line, right? And so this, that's what you get. It's this boy plus what you have here, and then so it's sent down to the next line. So this is like an accumulator pattern kind of for strings. And so essentially what that does is it allows us to sort of add on to what the string was before, and it allows us to update that value. And so you'll kind of see this here as we step, we're going to step over, and you can see that we use that escape character. And when we're done with that, sort of do this again here, and it sort of prints them out in a one on top of the other. Then it prints out the total number of minutes as well. So this is so that's really how we do that. But what we'd want to do now is we would think it better to use arrays. And what I mean by that is, let me just first of all demonstrate that this works each and every time we do it. So if we do ab1 dot add song, and I reference Hey Jude, and now I do that the song is for 5 minutes, I'll essentially press play, and it should just print out those songs the song names, the album, the artist, and the total runtime, which would be inclusive of the runtime of each song in particular, right? So now the goal is really to say, okay, we're going to use arrays. We're going to use arrays, and we're going to say, okay, we're not going to have the name of the song. Instead, we're going to have an array. So it's going to be a private string array. It's going to be called song array, okay? And essentially what this will do is, let's see. Essentially what this is going to do is it's going to store the name of the songs as they come. And also we will have a let's see. So we have the name of the album, the name of the song. We're no longer going to have that. We're going to have the song array. And we're also going to have we're going to have another array which stores the song duration array. It's going to store the duration of each song. So that's going to store a bunch of integers. And so now, so this just sort of becomes redundant, right? And we can keep everything else. So how do we do this? Well, think about it, right? This is no longer, so we're really not going to do any of this anymore. We're going to do some of it, but it just doesn't make any sense to have name of song there, right? We want to use an array. So this one, add song, is essentially going to, well, it's going to populate one array, one element of an array, or one element of an array each time it's called. So let's just get rid of that. And we're also going to return the song, but it has to be, of course, we're going to have to return an element in the array, with which we're going to populate the song that we're going to populate the array with. So essentially for the first one here, and we don't, and the goal is really not to change around this at all. So it should still do what it's doing here, but we don't want to change the method signatures in the class, and we don't really want to change any of this stuff. So this stuff has to be completely intact, but we can change around the class. We can't change the signatures, but we can change around the class. So that gives us a fair idea that this add song method, although it may populate an array, although it would populate the song array, we're still going to be entering a song name and a duration for the song. So I'll tell you what I'll do. What I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, we have a song name and we have a duration for the song. So, and we want to store both of these in their own arrays. We want to store the song name in its own array. So what I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, if this method is called, then take the array that I have, which is song array, and I haven't declared their default values, what their length will be. Essentially what I'll do here is in the constructor, I'll say, okay, well, the song array will have let's see. So the new song array will have 20. That doesn't make too much sense. Let's see. Song array will equal to, it will have 20 elements in it. Okay, it'll have 20 elements in total. And so essentially the same thing with the song duration array, because if we have songs, it should essentially match with the duration, right? So we're going to have the song duration array, and it will essentially equate to, again, these are going to be integers. So it's going to have 20, right? So we've declared them, we've initialized them, not initialized them, we're going to populate them. So what we think is, well, okay, if we have a song and we have a duration, well, if the duration is, if the new song duration, well, okay, let's just do this part first. What I'll do is I'll say, okay, the first, let's see here. So we're going to also have a variable called private int number of days, and number of days is essentially going to be defaulted to 0, right? And number of days will essentially just keep track of the index we're on. So if we're on the first, or not the number of days, but the number of songs rather, right? So what the purpose of this is really to keep track of the index we're on in the array. So if we're on the first song, then we know to populate the 0th array, or the 0th index, which is of course the first element. So what we'll do here is, okay, if this method is called, then I'm going to essentially say, I'm going to reference the song array, and I'm going to input. What I'm going to put inside it is I'm going to put the number of songs. So if the number of songs evaluates to being the 0th number of song, then we're going to reference the number of songs by default is 0. So we're essentially saying, like, go in the song array and go to 0 and populate that with what? Populate that with new song name, name that they enter, which is this. And so if they populate that, that's completely fine. And so we can see that this probably works, right? And then we'll just return. We're going to return the song array at number of songs. Okay, let's see what we get. It seems like we have an error. It's showing us an error here. It says number of days is 0. We can't do that. Why can't we do that? Well, because it's not number of days, it's number of songs. So now let's try to run the program and see really where we're at. So it's not, so let's see here. It's not printing out the songs anymore. What's the matter? Matter is it's not accumulating. So essentially what happens is we go, so we're going to debug this. We're going to debug this and I'll show you really what's going on. So we're going to go, let's go here. Then we're going to step into, okay. And it says, well, the song array is this boy, the number of songs is 0. Okay, so that's why I have this number of songs integer here, because I want it to default to 0. Okay, song array creates an array of 20 null integers, which are 0, and each element, and this is what an element is. It's each box within which you can fill potential data. Each element has an index corresponding to it. So this is the first, this is the 0th index, this is the first, this is the second, this is the third. So it counts, it starts counting at 0. So if I say that the number of songs is 0, it defaults to 0, that's just keeping track of the element that we're on. So, or the index that we're on. So it starts at 0, right? So number of days, I say, okay, well, the song array, reference the song array, number of songs resolves to 0 equals what they entered. So it goes to the array, the song array, and it says, okay, go to 0 and enter in new song. Okay, or what they entered. And so the new song name in the parameter is this boy, and the number of songs is 0. So it's going to populate 0, or it's going to its number of songs resolves to 0, like it's shown here. And the new song name is this boy. So it says the song array at the 0th index will populate the element, the corresponding element, with whatever they entered. And so you'll see that if we step over here, that's exactly what happens, right? So we have down here, you'll see that we have a new song array, and it consists of, so let's see here. Why aren't we able to see this here? Yeah, so they're 15 and there are 5 here, so there are 20 values, and the first element in the array is populated with this boy, and of course the first element corresponds with the 0th index. 0 is this boy. The next time we come around in this method, what we want to do is we want to increment number of songs, which is again the index, by 1, such that when we come back here, we'll be on the new number of songs will essentially be equal to 1. Before it was equal to 0. Now it's going to be equal to 1. And when it's equal to 1, we're then going to reference the first element. So it's going to be song array brac 1, and so it's going to reference 0, 1, and then it's going to populate this particular element with the new song. So now that it's incremented by 1, we should be able to essentially populate the next element, so to speak, right? So running this here essentially shows that songs is null, runtime is 0 minutes. What's going on? Well, number of songs plus, and then we're going to return number of songs. So let's see. Let's go to this breakpoint. Says the song is null, And the album's Abbey Road, that's fine. Total runtime is 0. So essentially, we get the name of the song, and that would just be song array, number of songs. So this resolves to 0, and so it references what was populated before. Let me try to run this program, knowing that I'm not probably running anything else. So it is in fact null. Let's see what's going on here. Put a breakpoint. Let's use our debugger, and let's go inside and see what's going on. So we sent back this boy with number of songs 0. Again, the array is created, right? The array is created, and number of songs, this boy, and let's see. So the song array has 20 elements. They're null right now, but when we step into, it should, of course, populate. And then it says this boy is at that index. And that's good. Number of songs is 1. Next time we step into it, essentially next time we step into it, we're now taking these that should populate Penny Lane. Okay. It should populate Penny Lane. And it seems like that's what it does, right? So there's this boy and there's Penny Lane. And then can I do it a third time? I can, right? I can. And it's populating Hey Jude at the third index, right? 0, 1, 2. Well, it's doing it at 0, 1, 2. So it's only doing it at the second index, which is the third element. And it's incremented number of songs by 3 after that execution. And so now we're actually on the fourth. So now it's expecting a fourth, but there is no fourth. And so now it just starts getting the artist name, which it does, right? Ooh, where are we now? So it gets the artist name. So really, we're populating the array. That doesn't seem to be a problem, but it seems to be that while we are in fact populating the array, we're not able to return the name of the song. So a good idea here is to say, okay, I want to return every single element in the array. However, only for the number of songs there are, which would be the number of indexes. In other words, if I have a array of 20 boxes within which they can contain songs, and I've only said, okay, this boy, I have one element populated this boy, and I have another one which says Hey Jude, and I have another one which says let's say I'm looking through you, right? I only want to return these. So this has a corresponding index of 0, this has 1, this has 2. I only want to return this stuff. So I don't want to return the rest, I only want to return this stuff. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a for loop. Int I is equal to 0. I should be less than the number of days, or the number of songs rather, and then increment I by 1 until that's not true. And so what I do here is well, I'll essentially I can't return an array, okay? I want to return a string. Okay, I want to return a string in this method because I can't change the method signature. That's the game. And so if I want to return a string, what I'll do is I'll have one string called songs, and I will essentially use the accumulator pattern, right? So I'll essentially use the same pattern I had up here. Where was it? Here, or no, the same pattern that I had for the accumulator, right? So essentially I would do songs is equal to songs plus, and then backslash with an n, and then I would have plus again, and this would be, of course, it would reference, essentially it would be one of these guys, right? So as I increments, it would just keep grabbing the element at a corresponding index. So it would be plus, and I would reference the sales, not the sales, but the song array, and it would be at I, because we're going to increment I by 1 each time the for loop executes, and it would grab each element, and it would just sort of put them in that it would put them in that pattern that we talked about before with the accumulator, right? And so then we're going to just return that string. We can't return anything else. We have to return a string. So this is probably the only way we could return a string. And we're going to return songs, which is the string in question. And so let's see if now, because our array populates and we debugged it, we saw that it populates. Let's see if it's okay. So it is returning those things. So you'll notice that while it is returning the songs, and we could virtually go back here and just add, we could add another song, ab1 dot add song. We could say, okay, the new song is going to be, Maxwell's Silver Hammer, and that will have a duration of 4. So this will essentially, it will follow that pattern that we wanted it to follow. Okay, it will print out the song and whatnot because that's what our program is doing. But it's saying 0 minutes. I want it to add on those. So 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 5 is 15. So we should have 15 as our total. But you'll see here that we're only populating the array for songs. We're not populating the array for the running time. Okay, so essentially each and every time you come here, your running time will be what your running time was before, plus the new song duration. That's what we had. That's what we agreed upon. Okay, and essentially, let's see. So where do we? So instead of doing this, we want to do it with an array, right? So what we'll do here is we'll say, okay, your running time is what your running time is, plus plus what? Plus the let's see, song duration array, plus the song duration array at I, or not at I, but at number of songs, right? That keeps track of which element we're on. So this and this are counting up at the same time with their number of songs, and it increments at the same time. So they're on the same element each run. And so it stores those values. And so the song array, so let's see, running time will equal running time plus the new running time. I think that makes sense. And then we'll print out, whoa, that is a very weird getup. It's a very weird getup. I think I pressed Control-Alt-L and it sort of made them look like that. Wow. Okay, well, that's just weird. But this gets the running time, and interesting. I guess they were like that then. So this gets the running time. That's actually pretty useful now that I think about it. So this gets the running time, and so if we just return running time, will we get what we want? 0 minutes, guys. 0 minutes. So running time is reflecting what running time was before, plus the new running time, plus song array at 0 is nothing, right? This should really resolve to null. And so let's see what we want to do here. Well, I'm going to reference the new song, not the new song array, but new song duration. And I'll reference that array, right? Is that what it's called? New song duration array is what it's called. And at number of songs, I'm going to store the new song duration. Let's see what it's called, because it's song duration array. It's not called new songs, it's song duration array. And I will store what they entered. And as it increments, it will gradually store what they enter for each index. And then when I'm here, return the running time doesn't equal anything, right? So what I'll do is I'll use another for loop, and I'll increment through the array itself number of days